Let's pause for a moment. I want you to consider something. What do you think the first 30 seconds of this match will look like? Have you ever thought about it? I'm not talking about the comp, the weapons, the stage. It doesn't matter. What will the first 30 seconds look like? Do you know? Let's watch. Okay, now that we've watched the first 30, how did you do? If you said that time would be used to get pop, as you can see, you weren't exactly wrong, but the pop happened in the first 12 seconds, so you weren't right either. There's not too much going on visually, but the overall goal here is just to get control, and that's what the first 30 seconds are for in any game of Rainmaker. In fact, every game of Rainmaker goes through 4 main phases, and that's what we're going to talk about today. No matter what the weapons are, no matter what map you're on, if it's Rainmaker, the game will go through these 4 phases. Let's get started. The first phase, as we've just seen, is always simply to get control. This means putting ink on the ground, maintaining space in mid, and get a numbers advantage as we prepare for phase 2. First checkpoint. Whichever team just gained an advantage in phase 1 is going to use that to push for the first checkpoint. At this point, one team becomes the aggressor, the other team becomes the defender, before we move on to phase 3, what I call second checkpoint. By this time, both teams have expended their resources maybe twice over, and so both teams are trying to recreate their advantage as best as possible, which leads us to the final phase of maintaining position. This is the last phase of any Rainmaker game, but it is hands down the most important. It is also the phase where most teams drop the ball. Now we're going to take a look at 2 separate matches to demonstrate each of these 4 phases. We're going to pick up where we left off. Here we see the Rainmaker was popped in less than 10 seconds, so it's not really that strong of a factor when it comes to getting control in this first phase. Green team loses a player in the first 20 seconds. That's not a good thing to do. They keep a lot of ink on the ground, but as you can see, green team is being pushed back onto their plat, and pink team is trying to capitalize on that and push for the second phase, which is the first checkpoint. Green team loses another player, pink team picks up the Rainmaker and starts making an advance. Green team does pull out a special. They try to stop pink team from taking the checkpoint, but they do break through. So now we're gonna start the third phase. A lot of teams may think because green team did get the Rainmaker to reset and they got a lot of their ink back in mid that this game has reset, but in fact it has not. Pink team can easily keep hold of their momentum, build their specials, paint over green team's ink, and we do see this happen. And that's why this phase is second checkpoint. Pink team does a great job pushing for the final podium here. They're not pushing the Rainmaker too far forward. Their teammates could do a little bit of a better job pushing forward, but finally they do go up the ramp to keep green team back. Green team has lost 2-3 players, and finally the Rainmaker does get a trade at the final podium. And we see we have entered into the 4th phase, which is maintain position. The Rainmaker does reset, but as we can see, pink team is still fully in control of this match. They are maintaining their position. They've used a couple specials to keep green team back. Green team has lost 2 players to that. And in fact, pink team's going to use their booyah. They're going to pick up the Rainmaker. They don't really have to push for the final podium here, but getting the Rainmaker into green team's space is a great way to maintain position in a Rainmaker match. At this point, the Rainmaker resets once again, Green team starts using a couple of specials, a couple of their players are trying to move up the side ramp to get into pink team's space. Both teams are trading. Control is being relatively maintained in mid between the two teams. Pink team's doing a better job at painting, and because of that, green team can't really move much. Green team does a great job at picking up the Rainmaker here to get the overtime, but as you can see, the rollers here waiting, maintaining the position quite literally, sharking, and finally is able to stop the Rainmaker. So that match is going to end as a win for pink team, even though green team was able to start getting a little bit of space right at the end of that match, as we can see by all their ink that's on the ground. Pink team was able to maintain their position for almost half of that 5-minute match. And if we look at the phases of that match individually, we see that pink team was the leader in all 4 phases during that match. Now we're going to take a look at another match, the same 2 teams, the same map, same mode, and we'll see how the ending was a little bit different. Starting out on this match, both teams of course head to mid for phase 1, which is just getting control. Again, the Rainmakers popped in the first 10 seconds, doesn't really matter much. We have an early special from blue team, trying to take space a little bit faster than the first match on this map mode. But blue team fatally loses 2 players here in the first 30 seconds, and a 3rd player has gone down. Orange team's going to capitalize on this just like they did last time, and they're going to take first checkpoint. And just like that, Bob's your uncle, we're already into phase 3 in less than a minute in this match. Orange team's picking up the Rainmaker, using it to paint, get some space, then they're pushing for second checkpoint, which is really just maintaining momentum, forward pressure. It doesn't go as smoothly for them as it did the first match. Blue team is able to pick up the Rainmaker and use it themselves to paint and try to get more control in mid. But notice we are still in phase 3. This match has not reset, and in fact, blue team is going to lose the Rainmaker here. Granted, blue team was not trying to push the Rainmaker forward at this point, but this Rainmaker reset is going to push us into the 4th phase of this match. And we see blue team lost a couple players, but they were able to build their specials back up relatively quickly to try to keep orange team at bay and prevent them from pushing into their plat, which blue team did an excellent job here. They might be able to get an actual match reset at this point. They're putting ink on the ground. They took down one of orange team's main slayers. They're using their specials to take space. The dualies are using their special to push orange team back, keep them second guessing. Blue team's trying to capitalize on this and make their own push for the first checkpoint. Meanwhile, orange team is kind of losing their togetherness that they had during the first 4 minutes of this match. Blue team has a lot of map control now. They're still pushing for their first checkpoint. And orange team is slowly and steadily not maintaining position. And here blue team was able to keep the pressure up, so much so that orange team broke down little by little and they were able to take the lead. Orange team does grab the Rainmaker here to try to take space, try to paint. Unfortunately, blue team could be doing a better job at defending at this point. They keep losing a player to flanks, but they were able to maintain their position, and that's something that orange team did not do this time. So we see that while orange team was able to move through 2 phases within the first minute of this match, their 3rd phase was pretty shaky, and their 4th phase was a failure. They were not able to maintain their position. They allowed blue team to take space, gain control of the map, and to slowly whittle down their defenses until they took the lead back. If we take a look at the 4 phases laid out, pink team controlled the first 2, the third was neutral, and blue team, just by taking advantage of the one phase, the last phase, the most important phase, they were able to win this match. Whether you look at the first match or the second match between these two teams on this mode, you can clearly see that there are 4 pivotal points in each match that determine which team gets put at a disadvantage, which team becomes the defender, and which team ultimately is going to take the win. These matches didn't have to be against the same 2 teams. It didn't have to be on the same map. These teams didn't have to have the same comp. All those small details do not matter. All that matters is taking advantage and preparing for the phase that you are in when you're playing a game of Rainmaker. Get control. Get that first checkpoint. Maintain your momentum, second checkpoint. And finally, maintain position. That is the final and most important phase. And if you're not looking at this game on a grander scale, on a zoomed out macro lens like this, then you're playing it wrong.